Future Now Show. Brought to you by the Club of Amsterdam.
Hey Futurists, it's me, Miss Metaverse, and welcome back to the Future Now Show brought to you by the Club of Amsterdam. We have a great guest for you today. Joining me from Amsterdam is Victor Luis Portes from the FIGURA Nova Foundation. How you doing, Victor?
Fantastic, doing great, thank you.
Okay, so tell me about the FIGURA Nova Foundation. What do you guys do?
Okay, excellent. So the FIGURA Nova Foundation, it's a product of actually it's a product of a very personal situation of mine. If I can take it back, in the past 11 years, I lost 4 family members to breast cancer. My wife is a breast cancer survivor. She likes to call herself an ex-cancer patient. I have a sister. I have a niece. And unfortunately, the cousin of my wife, who was taking care of her during her trajectory, now has breast cancer. And recently, also a dear friend of mine also got breast cancer. So this is a product of it's just a product of me being extremely frustrated with breast cancer, of course, but also seeing and knowing that there's a lot of technology out there that until we find the cure, there's a lot of cool things that we can actually contribute and do. And in a particular area, and this is where the foundation will play a fundamental role globally. And the focus is going to be on wearable technology. And what we're doing is focusing on 3D printing, 3D imaging, and wearable technology slash garment technology also. These 3 pillars, there's so much innovation, so many cool things happening. And part of it, I'm inspired. At the other part, I'm like, God damn it, we have to put this in the stream. But this is what we aim to do. This is what we really aim to. These are the core values of the foundation. And also on another stream, I started a company called Silhouette, and which comes from the same stream also, which is focusing on customized bra fit and bra inlay solutions. And we'll talk about bra fit and bra inlay solutions. So we don't want to call it prosthetics. We're addressing breast asymmetry issues, and there's a big challenge there. But when we started with Silhouette, with the company, the challenge was that we have such a breast cancer is such a strong social component. And when we're talking to investors and with all, people say, yeah, money in, money out. People only care about money. But I'm like, our investors were telling me, listen, Victor, this is a great idea, but to carry also the social responsibility at the stage where you're developing this technology, it's a lot. We're asking a lot also, especially when it's not your money. We're extremely careful with that. With that said, again, I go back to being just like, God damn it, this is really cool. I meet this incredible people, doctors, scientists, rocket scientists, but de facto, and we were like, what can we do now? So basically I said, you know what, to hell with it. We started a foundation. Business is business. That's Silhouette will focus on its on business needs and the market. But here, I simply refuse. So every day that I go out there and I see an innovation, if there's a possibility that it can be deployed in the health sector to help women all over the world, it should. And that's a goal here. And I think people are reacting to that. It's not easy because it's the health market. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why we have restrictions and regulations. There's a reason for that too. On the other hand, I say this, if we can send a freaking robot to Mars, a freaking robot.
A Tesla.
To freaking Mars, and then here, and then and with all respect to the Elon Musk of the world and the Steve Jobs and all these people, we can do these things. Here, there are some things that our technology know-how can solve in this area. With all respect to the Me Too movements, salary equality, all these things that women are fighting for, I really want to also take the technology focus. And and bring this conversation forward. So the foundation is not only, you know, we'll work on the technology part, but one of the key things is going to be the conversation, bringing women together in this area, and moving forward on this, and putting this issues out there. So I hope that gives you a picture, because you know, it's but at the heart, at the core, if you go visit our website, we just launched, and it will, you know, we'll keep growing and putting more information. But that's the core. That's the core.
Right. So now, what are the main technologies that you see have the most promise? You know, the most promising capabilities for these breast cancer patients? Will it be more for aftercare, after they've been diagnosed, or as their ex-patients, or will these technologies be able to help diagnose or prevent breast cancer as well?
Well, like I said, we are into wearable technology. So as we move forward, by the way, really cool question. I'm happy to answer it. There's, for the record, as a disclaimer, my background, I studied graphic design, and I moved on to, I worked in publishing, worked in product development, design, branding, but I have an innate desire, and I think it's a New York thing. It's a New Yorker. I swear to God, living in New York, some of the things I wear it like a, you know, like a badge. I have to solve things, and I got to get things done, and that's something that was especially going to Parsons, and I also, before that, I went to Autos de Travel School of Design in the Dominican Republic, which is affiliated to Parsons, and that's how I got my grant to go to New York. But you know, here, what's imperative is that, you know, in terms of technology, we have three pillars. One is, of course, there's a trajectory. We have preoperative and postoperative. In terms of preoperative, and it's a big issue, because, you know, imagine in the case of my wife, I just speak for my wife, my wife right now, for example. If she would have gone to the hospital and said, listen, okay, you get the diagnosis, but if she already went there with a very a concrete image of her breast forms, and that can assist surgery, but also post surgery. Or post-operative, like it's medically called. That's why I have to be careful. I go between these terms, but just for the audience to be. But in that case, can you use that imagery, regardless of the outcome of the surgery or the operation? It would be nice. Okay, so I have this. This is the outcome, and if I want to get a prosthesis, then can I still use this form to actually build something for myself, to customize it? That's already technologically, it's a big leap, and it also gives the patient, and not the patient, but the person, it will give my wife some control. Right. It's still, I have this in this shitty situation, because I have not been through it, but it's crap. I cannot, even from a distance, Lord help me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think it does. But that's a choice that somebody has to make at that point. Apart from saying I have cancer, I have to survive, and God knows what's going to happen to me, my children, my job, economics, etc. But here is where we come in and we say, you know, can this help? We believe so. So already putting that into the system, you know, because you have, you know, the insurance companies, the policies, etc. That's a trajectory. But in terms of technology, yes, we can influence that part. There's also the garment technology. What do you wear? Apart from, let's say you get the prosthetic, it fits well. As you recover, does the prosthetic it helps you with the recovery at that point and build confidence, etc. So this is where we want to touch. This is the discussions that we want to build. And there's a lot of positive feedback from that. People are interested in seeing, well, yeah, let's see what we can do with that. In terms of the garment technology, textiles, purely textiles also, it's very interesting too. And I don't want to put down the technology that already exists. We want to create value and have this discussion. It's easy to call things out. We have to call them for what they are, where they can improve, but we have to add value. This is how we grow. I am not going to, I'll be critical, but be positive. What can we do here? And I think, for example, Again, a great question, because there's a couple of people who are doing some really crazy things, at least on this side of the pond. There's a lady called Niela Hointink, and I can send you the link. We can attach it to this interview if it's possible.
Yeah.
And she's using microbiology to grow textiles. And she in the brief conversation I had with her, she also introduced me to a company called Fabrican. It's basically it's a textile that you can spray on a person, and looking at the trajectory of my wife, it would have been so nice that while she's recovering, and we have to get everybody involved, of course, but just as a concept, it's an idea that you can spray a textile as opposed to wear this, fit this. You spray it on, okay, and then rip it off and then dispose of it. So there's a lot of cool. There's so many cool things happening in terms of. Then there's the subjects of bio tracking or biosensors. It's interesting too. Like you can put one of this wrist bio trackers, and you can track how many steps you've taken during the day. On the other hand, there's data privacy and there's policy also. Liability. So there's a lot of issues there, and data privacy. It's a big issue, especially around the world. So here, if I'm hopefully I'm being a bit clear. It's the three pillars are 3D imaging and 3D printing. We can definitely, there's room for discussion and improvement there, and we can add that. Data privacy. We can also but that has to be monitored, and there's this level of interaction there. And in textiles, innovation. And before I forget, for example, my wife, she became Pilates. She was doing Pilates before, and now she's a certified Pilates trainer, and she's doing restorative Pilates for people who have surgery. Specifically, in the torso. So it doesn't have to be breast cancer specifically; it can be back surgery. But that kind of stream. And my wife, for example, right now, she hasn't worn one of her prosthesis bras or inlays for a while now. She's wearing Adidas, she's wearing Under Armour or Nike. These guys are also doing some really cool things in terms of material development and breathability. So the foundation, the Figura Nova Foundation, again, doing my business with Silhouette, I found out that I could not monetize everything. We can't. I could not put a price on anything, and also I cannot make my investors and the people who want to make a business out of it, because it's a good business, by the way, but to put all this weight on them, it's just it wouldn't work. So the foundation is a product of that, but there's so much that in terms of innovation and in wearable technology that we can bring together, and on top of that, we need to bring more women into the conversation. You posted something. I saw one of your videos where this is kind of this robot tracking a garment.
Yes, the robots on the clothes.
Yeah, and I go, what? How can we do this apart from getting used to the dynamics and the user experience? But again, I think it's a very exciting time for what it's worth. I think it's a very exciting time for women to talk about also technology. And there's a gap there. I was looking at just going through my LinkedIn profile page, and I'm following some companies, and I'll end here. And there's a lot of great things. And when I see, a 3D printing company, and I counted, they were all guys. But you can't blame that. It's also that's not the issue that I want. It
happens.
But I go, and with that said, before I had this note here, two more things, because. I have to mention also the part of the inspiration for Figura Nova is because last year I was end of April, I was at the 3D Heals, a 3D printing conference, and it's a platform, 3D Heals, founded by Jenny Chen in San Francisco, and they're focusing on 3D printing and health. And there I was able to meet also really interesting people, but again, women. One of them is Dr. Catherine J. Stevenson, and she is one of the few engineers in 3D printing, I think top in the United States. But it was so cool to talk to her, because when I said, hey, we want to create a prosthesis for breast cancer survivors that not only static, but when you move, it has the movement, it reacts to gravity. So once again, the technology is there, and I can leave you with this. We can send a freaking rover to Mars, and I'm happy to do that by Jehovah, by God. So I think that if we can take that same energy and solve some problems here in this area, I think we're going to do a lot of good. And I think this is the core message of the foundation, and we want to get people involved.
Excellent. So
is that something? It's
yeah, that's great. All right.
Well,
so we're running out of time. We only have about a minute left. What can we do to support the cause?
I would say, of course, visit our website. There's some basic information there.
What's the website?
It's FIGURA.foundation.
Great.
Visit us, and also and follow. We're starting, and it's social media is fantastic, but we're starting up. I also work with a lot of advisors from around the world, and it's difficult to get everybody on board. So this international collaboration, this sounds exciting, but I run things from my home studio here, and then I talk to a person like you, or I talk to somebody in San Francisco, and but please visit the website and get in touch with me. Ask me any questions, and please. If any ideas, throw everything our way right now. Visit the website, get in touch with us, and please know and listen. I got into this. It's again typical New Yorker. Listen, I'm doing this because I was just frustrated, and fuck it. I'm just extremely pissed off, and if I can do this, since I just did it and solved it. I'm not a product designer. I'm not a doctor. But right now, I'm talking to some of the most brilliant minds in the world, and they have an affinity with this. If you have a problem like this and you want to solve something, reach out to people, and they will help. That's what I would say in general terms. Also, support anything that has to do with breast cancer. Get involved and get informed, please, and read. We can't be lazy. You have to freaking read things.
It's an epidemic. I mean,
we have to, and we have to educate the next generation. But please, first, get in touch with us. Visit our foundation, our website, and get in touch with me. And I'll give you as much information as possible. And I'll leave you with this. By 2025. Every woman on this planet scanning for a breast prosthetic should be like the polio vaccine. We have to kill it. It should be solved. This is a message for the Apples of the world, for the Teslas, for the Bransons, for the governments. 2025. There's no excuse for us. Any woman who wants a breast prosthesis should be able to scan it and 3D print it, a custom one anywhere. If we don't do this by 2025, it's then, and we can send a rover to Mars. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Please think about that and do what you can. It's like, I hope that's in this short time. I hope that
was great. Thank you. Absolutely. All right. Well, I look forward to speaking with you more. I hope to have you back on very soon. And you heard it direct. You know what to do. Check it out. And looking forward to having you on again in the future.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.